Okay guys, I'm going to show you how to apply a screen protector to a mobile device. And so in my example here, I've got an iPad full size, and of course I've got some protection film here to protect this already very durable glass screen. And the only reason why I'm putting this on is that I have kids, and of course kids have the ability to pretty much destroy anything. So what we want to do is, of course, we want to start out with your device and make sure that it's immaculately cleaned. And I just use eyeglass cleaner and a very soft and very lint-free microfiber cleaning cloth that I'd use for my glasses. And if you notice here, I've got this yellow cloth on my glass table. And it's actually a microfiber cloth as well that's actually been wringed out from under the sink, so it's actually damp. And the reason why you want this to be damp and sitting on a cloth is, one, so the tablet doesn't slide around, or your phone doesn't slide around on the surface that you're working on, but because it's damp, it doesn't actually kick up any dust and lint fibers while you're trying to apply this film. And so pretty much I use this as my work surface to keep dust at bay. We've got a little squeegee card that typically comes with the film that you're going to apply on, and then this is the film I'm using. And of course there's two sides to it. It says please peel off this mask before applying, so that's essentially the sticky side that will stick to the glass surface of your of the iPad. And then of course on the top there is a protective mask that actually protects the surface of the film, so that when you're squeegeeing, it doesn't any scratches that you're putting onto it, you're scratching the mask and not necessarily the surface of the film. So and then of course I've got a roll of Scotch tape, and this is to basically use to pull off any lint that, as you're applying this film, is going to stick to the underside of the protection film. And so lint builds up, your dead skin cells on your fingers, anything. You can see an imperfection as you're squeegeeing it down, and you're just going to use the Scotch tape to basically stick it and pull it off so that you have a flawless finish. So let's start off by cleaning the screen of the iPad. Now, for those that are going to comment about how this is an oleophobic, hardened Gorilla Glass screen, I don't care. My in-laws have a 2-year-old that, believe it or not, managed to badly scratch an iPad 4 screen. So much to my amazement, I was blown away. And so I've always been a proponent of screen protectors, but never have I seen them have such value until we had children. So working under a really bright light, making sure that I pulled off every trace of dust on my iPad screen, I'm going to now take my iPad film and essentially peel the side that says peel off before this mask before application. So I'm going to gently pull this back. But you want to peel the mask off in such a way that you don't completely remove it off. You actually want this mask to be used as a set of holding wings as you apply the film. And basically you're just going to ever so carefully apply this film and align it to the best of your abilities. And how good this application is going to be completely dependent on how much time you invest applying this film. So here I've lined up the home button, and now I'm just going to use my squeegee to gently push down. And as I'm applying the film, I'm pushing it down in a curled manner, as you can see, like this, and just making sure that the edges line up properly. Now if they don't line up, you can always pull this film back up and reapply. So you can see right here there's a little dust speck already on the underside of my film, indicating that there's dust. So I'm going to take some Scotch tape, I'm going to peel this off, I'm going to lift up the screen and basically try to locate where that little dust speck is, and then using my Scotch tape to carefully pull this off. Now I'll admit it is a pain in the ass to apply film. I hate doing it, and so it's never fun, especially when you got dirt on the underside of your screen. So using my squeegee, if you guys can sort of see, I am carefully just squeegeeing this film on and making sure I remove the bubbles, and making sure I pay attention for any grains of dust and dirt. And so far I'm seeing none, which is good news. Oh wait, I've just encountered a new piece of dust. So again, pick up your Scotch tape, carefully lift your film, and just dab the back side of that film to pull it off. Now you don't have to worry about scratching the film as I'm doing here, because remember I said there was that protective masking layer, so that's okay. Now the other thing too that's worth mentioning is that when you do see dust, you can tell that it's dust because the air bubbles don't go away. This dust doesn't move underneath plastic film surfaces. So far after I've removed that one speck, I'm good so far. So just keep squeegeeing, and then basically as you squeegee the edge, you're just going to peel that away. And now when you're squeegeeing, pay attention I guess to the edge where the EyeSight camera or the FaceTime HD camera is, of course, because you don't want to go and take your scraper and go over the camera surface and damage that. But pretty much I think I've got 99% of what I wanted done accomplished properly with this film. So I'm just gonna take a rubbing motion and push all the junk out to the best of my abilities on the edges like this. Okay, and just again, that's why you have a damp microfiber cloth, because if you have dust granules you can just use your cloth to pull them off. And so I think I've got the majority of the bubbles removed. Now here's a quick tip, guys. This film that I actually am using on this iPad 4 is in fact a film that was originally for the iPad 1. And the difference between the films is the iPad 1 never had a front-facing camera on the screen, and this one did. So what I did was I actually overlaid this film before I actually applied it, and used a little Sharpie marker to mark where the camera position was, and then ultimately I just put this piece of film in and then hole punched it into 3-hole punch, making sure I carefully aligned my Sharpie mark. And as you can tell, that's almost a perfect lining of the camera to the hole, so not bad. I actually bought this film for like $1 at a clearance store because it was for an iPad 1, and we all know iPad 1s are long gone and dead. So great way to save money instead of paying like the $20 or $30 that guys like Shield and Belk can charge us for a pack of film. This is just a rip-off, in my opinion, for a piece of plastic. So anyway, so this is what it looks like, and so I can give you a better view. So this is applied. You don't see any air bubbles, and of course you see the surface all marred up. I'm going to carefully lift my protection mask film. And so you know how I had mentioned earlier that we thought the film was pink? Well, my bad. I keep making these little mistakes in my video. It's actually an anti-reflection film, just like the iPad screen. It actually looks really good. And so I'm just going to carefully peel this mask back like this, and I'm just going to use my cloth here, and I'm just going to push down so that it's sealed on the edges. And as I keep peeling and peeling and peeling and peeling, now you don't want to peel too hard because you can actually lift this film up. Tablet protection films are actually not necessarily sticky on the back. They're actually static cling or vacuum cling, or a combination of both. So as I peel this back, we can actually see that there is in fact an anti-reflective coating on an iPad screen, much like a camera lens actually, guys. But that's what it looks like. And so you can see where I punched it out, it's just a hair kind of sticking up, so I just use my cloth and press it down as best as I can. I'll boot my iPad up and just show you how good this film looks on this iPad. I'm actually impressed. It's actually nicer than I thought. And you can take your cloth and just rub out any sort of dust and making sure everything's good. Now, quick service tip here is that if you're finding that the edge has a little bit of dust or it's not quite sitting right, again, all you have to do is take your Scotch tape and stick it on the edge of where you want to lift up, preferably in a corner is the easiest, to lift up this film, and then using another piece of Scotch tape to sort of clean up around the edges. But this is what it looks like. Pretty darn fancy, actually. In fact, I don't think there's any loss whatsoever on the Retina display. It looks as good as if I don't have a screen protector on it, but I do know it is here because I can see that there's a slight purple tinge. Now, not all films are created the same way. You might not get this fancy sort of camera-like coating on your film. But the point is, how I've done this is the same application whether you buy a film from Belkin or from, you know, those mall kiosks. It's all the same. So there you have it. I hope you found this video useful and informative. Rate, comment, and subscribe.